and welcome. So I'm been a little bit slow to get back into making junk journals on a normal schedule, I guess. But I'm getting there. So in the meantime, I have an unboxing to share today and a hopefully quick project. Using the items in the box, which I haven't even looked at yet. And please excuse my grungy fingernails. I have been dyeing and rusting papers and fabrics lately, so that's why they look so awful. So this is the Your Creative Studio box for March, and it has a beautiful card as always, a thank you business card. And I did peek inside, I have to admit. And it already looks like it has some really cool stuff. I didn't look inside this box, but I'm gonna open everything up and I'll be right back to share. Okay, I'm back and I've opened everything up. Everything is beautiful. I am seriously in love with this package. I mean, there's nothing that I don't love. And I'm gonna go through everything a little bit at a time. I mean, one by one is what I meant to say. Well, let's start with these. So it's a letter writing theme, I'm pretty sure, and these are stickers that look like they would be on envelopes. Excuse me. This is a little decorative border piece and looks like postage stamp kind of things. And just to show you, these are stickers. They come off and stick on your project. And these are also stickers. There's usually a page of these in these boxes. They're clear stickers like this, clear, pretty stickers. So they're like, hopefully you can see that clear. And I apologize for the lighting today. Every time I record, it seems like there's terrible lighting. So I'm gonna have some shadows and maybe a little dark, but it's just a dark and gloomy day today. Okay, so there's some paper here, beautiful, with some writing, some stamps, a rose. It's like a tissue paper. It's not, I don't think it's rice paper, I think it's tissue, and you can hear the crinkliness of it. Beautiful. 5 pages of those. There's a beautiful little charm with a letter with a heart. Isn't that sweet? I'm going to try to reuse that in my project that I have in mind. And there are these, I think these are called book plates or labels, I guess they could be. They're really pretty, and you can use them like on the front of your journal to put a title on, or a journal page, or you can use them in collage, lots of different ways. They're all like vintage with writing on them. Not all have writing, or maybe all, almost all. Yeah, they all do. They're really pretty. Lots and lots and lots of them. I'm going to try to use them as tabs, and we'll see how that works out. So I didn't even know it was in this box. I had an idea already in mind, and that fits in with it. So there are also some letters and envelopes, really pretty. I wanted to show you, each thing comes wrapped separately. So this was in the packaging, the plastic bag together, and it's a cardboard, or not a cardboard, but like a heavy piece that you can use in your project too. It's so pretty. You know, you could cut it down to size and use it on something. Okay, so this is a letter and envelope set. Look how beautiful that is. This is the back side, the front side. I guess that's called the front, right? Look how pretty that is. My gosh, I just love that design. And then it has 6 letters of each, 6 papers of each design. 6 of these and 6 of these. They're white on the back that go with the envelopes. You could put 2 pages in each envelope. Beautiful. And then we have another set with another beautiful packaging that has also 3 envelopes like this, and 3 of each envelope, and 6 sheets that match the envelopes. They're just so pretty, honestly. I love these. What I love about these boxes is that you can use everything in this box in a project because they all coordinate so nicely. Okay, Stamps. There's usually 2-3 stamps in a package, in a box. This one is, and I left it. Oh my gosh, there's still, there's a stamp inside that I left. Ah! So this is, I like that, and obviously I didn't look at it carefully enough, that you can see the design on the envelope of the stamp when you take it out. This is upside down, I think. Or maybe there is no upside down or right side up. But that's one set of stamps. Then there's this one, the lady writing at her desk. And then this one is a more things that you can use on your desk. Pen, a quill, like a feather pen quill, I think it's called. Oh my gosh. And letters. I know the words to everything. There's some beautiful washi tape with some writing and a rose. Hopefully you can see that pattern. This is really nice washi tape. It's so pretty. And then, are you ready for this? Here's what was in the box. Ta-da, ta-da. Look at this. Beautiful glass pen. I am no pen expert, but I love this. Even if I don't use it to write with, it's just gorgeous to display. I just love this so much. Okay, so I'm going to clear this up. I have a project in mind. Let me make sure I showed everything I did. And I'll be back. Okay, so several days have gone by. My fingernails aren't black anymore because I couldn't work on this project right away as I had planned to. So my idea is to make a junk journal or a journal of sorts out of that file folder. And I'm showing that I'm going to cut it in half and then fold it like that. I had planned to... I hadn't really had a firm plan before other than I knew I wanted to use that file folder to make a journal. But I now am deciding I'm going to store the stationery sets that came with the box this month in that journal. So it's like a junk journal folder. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm going to attach the rice paper to the white copy paper because it shows up better on that white background than the dark brown background of the folder. I pulled out some little extra papers and doodads from a previous box. That's not this month's box, but it's previous Your Creative Studios box to use to help decorate my cover. So I attached the rice paper, or it's not rice paper, it's like tissue paper to that copy paper. I trimmed it. It doesn't have to be perfect because I can trim it more or I can, I'm going to grunge it up with some distress ink on the edges probably. So I cut the file folder in half there, as you can see. Now I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to create 4 pockets. So I'm using both of those pieces because since there are 4 stationery sets in the box, I want to have 4 pockets for the 4 sets. So I'm folding those in half, and then I'm going to figure out how tall my journal has to be, and I'm just going to use one of those papers to figure out approximately, if you've ever watched other videos of mine, I don't like to measure, so that's how I do things. I'm using the bone folder to score the folder so I can fold it easier. And that way I don't have to measure how tall it has to be. I kind of measured it. I measured it with the paper and made my pockets. And, they work fine. It all works fine. And I do the same thing with the second piece. So I'm going to fit that right in there. There's the second piece. And I'm making sure all those folds are... press down as much as possible because it's starting to get a little bulky because of the file folder. I'm going to trim that up, the edge. When I fold things, sometimes they don't come out even. But look, I have my ruler out and I'm actually measuring to make that little hole there so that it's in the center.
because I've eyeballed those in the past, and I have to admit that I have not had great success with eyeballing those things. So I use my ruler for those now, a rare occasion. And I do that with all 4 of the pockets. And now I trim that edge. I have my 4 pockets pretty much ready. I'm going to probably sew them. Well, yes, I know how this turns out. I am going to sew them closed, but I was leaving it until later because I wasn't sure if I wanted to sew all around the edge of the file folder or just sew the edges closed somehow. But you'll see how I figure it out. So as I said before, those little papers came from a previous Your Creative Studio box, and you can see how nicely things coordinate from previous month boxes sometimes. These all pieces all really work well together, which is nice. I decided, I'm kind of getting off track because I decided those 2 little pieces that I put up at the top there definitely going on the front cover. So I decided to go ahead and start gluing things down. When I'm working on a project like this, I wanted it to be quick and simple. I didn't want it to be time consuming, partly because of this video. I don't want it to be super long, and partly because, it doesn't really need to be that complex. I make other projects that are kind of, more detailed, but in this case, this one I didn't think needed to be anyway. So the reason I'm saying that is when I'm working on a project like this, I try to not obsess over decisions, which I tend to do, especially on covers of things. I obsess and take pictures and ask for other friends' opinions, send them the picture. I mean, crazy. So the best thing I found is just to start, and then things usually become clear. Sometimes you do have to kind of walk away a little bit and come back to it, but in most cases, when you make a decision and just go forward, it usually works out. So in this case, that's what I'm doing. I'm starting to glue my papers, kind of making a mess. I would have normally used my glue stick for all of this, but I was too lazy to glue each piece individually and move stuff out of the way and then put it back so I could, you know what I mean? Like if you use your glue stick, you have to have another piece of paper on which to glue and so on. So I'm using the kind of wet glue. So it works fine for this too. It's just quicker. I'm gluing the papers, kind of being messy and quick about it. But everything turns out fine and it's all glued down. So I'm showing you that I'm going to trim that up too. So I continue doing that on the back cover as well. I've selected those 2 little pieces of paper from all my papers and I'm going to trim that top all the way around piece with my scissors, of course. And I've done that. As you can see, I'm going to use Distress ink around all the edges and grunge it up a little bit. But first I have to use my washi tape on the spine because that'll add another decorative touch and also some more sturdiness to the spine, because I am going to sew the thing together with some wax thread, so I want it to be, as sturdy as possible. And I really like that washi tape too because it matches the cover. So I glued that down, and then I'm going to do the Distress ink all the way around. I'm going to distress all the edges of everything inside and out. It takes quite a while, so I went ahead on this part too. You can see the end result, and I grunged up some of the pieces. I attached that paper there I'm showing you because I thought it needed some decoration on that tab there. So I brought out all my pieces of those little labels or book plates, or I don't know what you want to call them, and arrange them all because I like to have as many choices as possible when I'm making a project, to make it as difficult as it can be to make a decision. I'm half joking, but honestly, I do like to have lots of choices, which is usually what gets me into trouble. But in this case, I was able to, when I laid them all out like that, I was able to actually make a decision pretty quickly on what of which one of those I wanted to use at the top, and then I put some together to use as tabs, which you'll see in a moment. And I took one of the stickers from the box as well to add one more little thing up there, which I think looks nice. Excuse me. I put distress ink around the edges of almost everything I used in this project, and I wanted to glue that piece down first before I committed to the circular little postage stamp sort of thing, but it looks good together just like that, so I pressed it all down, and there you go. So now I'm going to put the I'm also showing you that I'm going to use those stamps probably to decorate the inside a little bit. And next I'm going to use those little label things as tabs. I'm going to put 2 together, and you'll see in just a minute. Okay, I did one, and I'm going to show you how I did it when I do the second one. I did fast forward through a lot of this stuff because, or not fast forwarded, but just skipped ahead and didn't show parts because it's pretty self-explanatory, and also I didn't want the video to be overly long. In reality, this project was really quick. It took me in real time about an hour to finish it, so it was actually pretty darn quick. So there I put down one side, and then I distress inked the other side, and I put that down. They're not the same pieces. I decided to do different pieces on either side. I don't know why. And I decided I had to glue my pocket down because I'm putting the tab on top of the pocket, which is probably not ideal, but that's the way it turned out. And I'm, of course, obsessing over what should I put it on the inside of the pocket, which is now ridiculous in retrospect that I was thinking about doing that. But, you know, when you're in the moment, sometimes it's hard to think. So I glued that down really well, and I think it looks really nice. So got some glue, a little bit extra glue there, whoopsies. So that's all put together, and then I think, I don't remember, I'm discussing about sewing. I wasn't sure how much sewing I was going to do, but I end up, which I'll probably show next, maybe, maybe not, maybe it's time to decorate the cover a little bit more. I thought those a little stamp and that little number label, again from a previous box, would work nicely on the cover, and I was trying to decide between the butterfly and the bird, and I decided that the bird stamp looked a little bit better color-wise and just a little more interesting on the cover, I thought. Again, distressing all the edges. And those little faux stamps are actually stickers, so I just could peel off the back and stick it on, which you'll see in just 1 minuto. So here we go. I'm getting there. And it, I had trouble getting the backing off because, of course, I'm doing this while the distress ink is still wet. I didn't want to wait. I'm too impatient. So I'm trying to figure out where to put the numbers. I put there, silly. There, maybe. No, not really. I'm going to put it the right way it goes. I mean, the way you can read it normally. And there you go. It's a simple decoration, but I think there's a lot going on the cover that it doesn't need anything more. I'm happy with the way that all turned out. All right, I did my sewing. I just decided to sew the edges. I didn't really want to sew all around the whole thing on the tabs and all that stuff because I just didn't think it would look good. Just checking to make sure my papers will fit. And then these are just coffee dyed papers that I have. I trimmed them down to fit inside. I decided to put some papers on the inside to do some journaling or whatnot. And I used the part that I trimmed off of those coffee dyed papers to stamp those images, which I'm going to then use to decorate my pockets. And so that's all I did, is I just stamped onto the coffee dyed paper. It's actually tea dyed paper. I don't know why I keep saying coffee dyed paper. Um, I hardly ever use coffee to dye anything. And so I'm just showing you that I'm going to tear those images like that, roughly distress ink them, and then glue them on to the pockets. You'll see that when I come back from this section. Okay, I'm back with my finished project, and I love the way it turned out. I have my dip pen here for decoration. So here's what it looks like. I better put that out of the way before I break it. I put the papers on, as I mentioned before. I put these in the pockets. Put that there. I stitched the papers in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. They're just plain. You can stamp those too if you wanted to, I guess. And then I didn't add any other decoration back here, which I will probably do the similar things I did over here, but I added the other stationery. And oh, and I almost forgot, I added that little sticker from the box right there, which I thought was pretty cute. Okay, so the one last thing I'm gonna do is I have this string that I actually got in a package myself, in a different package. I tied that little charm onto the string, and then I'm just gonna tie it like this as my closure. I thought it was the perfect simple but effective closure. And there you have it. It's a little crooked. My bow tying there. It's not great, but there, you get the idea. I would do it a little better than that. It's a little loose. But anyway, I'm happy with the way it turned out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.